Okay, it's about 7:20 a.m. I'm going to flip around so you can look at the car. You don't have to look at my pretty face. But I am here in Hershey as evidenced by those Hershey Kiss street lights right across from the Hershey Lodge. 7:20. I could have been on the road by 7 o'clock, but I know Bill has to pick up the truck in about an hour or so, and also has to swing by my house here in Hershey to get a couple things for the road. So I figured I'd make it fair. Wash the car, ready to go. It's charged up, about as charged up as it can be for driving around town to the car wash and a couple other places. But we are going to run aerodynamic today. We are on our way to Wisconsin, about a 930-mile trip with Bill Cho chasing me in an internal combustion engine rental car pickup. We are emptying out a storage unit. That's where we're doing it, but we figured we'd make it fun. Game of cat and mouse. I've got about, 5 or 6 stops I'm going to have to make to charge. So we'll see if and where he can catch me. I've got a load of stuff in the back. So when we come back, I'll be able to carry more because I've got a roof box and roof rack and a trailer hitch mount that'll all help me carry more stuff on the way back, but I don't need them as aerodynamic drag on the way when Bill's trying to catch me. I've also got a list of, this is also posted, I think in some of the other threads, but a list of all the stops, charging stops I can make. The black ones are ones I plan on using on the way out. The gray ones are not. Of course, my printer's out of ink, so the gray ones you can barely see, even though it was printing in black and white. Thanks, HP or whomever made that. But anyway, that's it. That's my thing. I want to hit the road, so I'm going to sign off. But I'm sure Bill will be checking in at a certain point, and I'll check in when I make stops. My first stop is going to be Bedford, Pennsylvania. Okay, so I am on the road, sort of. I just checked in Facebook Live near Hershey Lodge, and was trying to leave town, but realized the last time I took a road trip to Northern Virginia, I got stuck at a toll booth because the universal pass that's in the e-tron for whatever reason wasn't working with the Dulles Toll Road. So just in case there's not like a battery issue or an account issue or something like that, I went back to get an extra easy pass to my house, since it was only like a 5-minute drive home, but using energy all the time, so, which kind of stinks. And it's now let's see here, 7:35. So Bill picks up the truck in 25 minutes. So I burnt a lot of my lead already just doing dumb stuff around town like Facebook Live. So Bill, take the time to do, or hopefully he does. I'm not going to post this to Facebook Live. It might make the YouTube cut. But hopefully he gets slowed down too, because otherwise it's not going to be much of a race. We'll see where we go. I think he may catch me by Ohio if all goes well for him and all doesn't go well for me. Okay, so plugged it into Waze. Waze is saying it's faster to go through Harrisburg, so I'm trusting you, Waze. We'll see where this goes. I'm not quite to Harrisburg yet, but going at a pretty good clip, so we'll see what comes of it. Traffic. Yeah, so sitting in traffic outside of Harrisburg. maybe we'll see. Hopefully it's a net gain. But my range is currently checking in 176, and miles to Bedford, which is our first stop, is only 104. So we should be still in the fast range of the battery when we begin to recharge on our first recharge. All right, so we're on the long straight portions of the Pennsylvania Turnpike west of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Somewhere, I think we just passed Carlisle Fairgrounds, which is where the Carlisle Import Show happens in May. So this part of the turnpike is usually pretty fast. You can see very far, and it's like 3 lanes each direction. Nice and clear, so I'm able to make time. That said, I'm watching my average. I think I've gotten up to 3.8 kilometers per kilowatt hour, down to 3.6. That's kind of alien, probably, if you're used to internal combustion, but it's not as good, right? Like, I'd rather be up around 3.8, 4, even if I were trying to run really efficiently. I'm not trying to run really efficiently right now. I'm trying for pace, right? We've got, if you look at our stops today, I've got, let's see here, 112 miles to the first stop, 119 to the next, 130, 144. 144 is going to be my longest run today, and that'll get me using most of my range, which is, closer to 180 to 200, depending on how fast I'm going. So I can run pace, and then because we'll be rapid charging, I can make that up at the charging stops. And so I'm going to try and run pace today. I don't really want any tickets, so I'm not like cannonballing or anything like that, but I have a pretty good strategy for how fast I go in relation to the speed limit that should keep my driver's license safe, and should still make good time. So that's kind of my plan. All right, nothing really significant to the trip, although significant to the e-tron. Just passed 25,000 miles on this thing, so we've had it about a year and a half. Have been enjoying it quite a bit. Have made some long road trips. You just sort of get used to plotting out your charging times and planning for the extra time. And sometimes it's a pleasant stop, not always, but sometimes it's in a cool area, or a nice flavorful bite to eat or something like that. It's not bad. So 25,000 miles. This is my first electric car, so I take that as a milestone. That right there on the left is a Pennsylvania State Trooper, so I'm going to have to slow my pace down a bit. Hopefully we're not behind him too long. On the upside, I'll be more efficient. So,
okay, well, George just started off already on about 7:30. I think he left Hershey, which is about an hour west of me. So he already has an hour head start. It's just a little bit past 8, and I'm here to pick up my 2021 Ford F-150 Ecoboost XLT. Nothing special. It's a 2021 though, so it's brand new. This is what is going up against George's e-tron, which, like I said, he left probably like 45 minutes ago, and I am an hour west of him. We are headed to Oconomowoc, Wisconsin tonight. For me, it's about a 13-hour drive. This thing apparently has a 23-gallon tank, so I can probably, I definitely have to stop once to fill up, and I can probably make it to Oconomowoc with just one fill up, one stop. George has to make at least 6 stops to charge up his e-tron. So this should be interesting. He drives faster than I do, so he may beat me, but I'm hoping to catch him before we get to Chicago, and instead of wasting any more time here, I'm going to hop into the truck and take off.
All right, so I just caught up with Bill. Looks like he's on the road out of Allentown now. He needs to stop in Hershey to pick up a few things. We were going to do a platform for the hitch for the rental, and so the tie downs and a couple other things are there. That's going to buy me a little more time. We think he's about 2 hours behind me, so all in all, it's about the distance we thought we might have as far as lead time. I'm guessing, math-wise, that puts me in Chicago when he catches up to me. I finally got around that police car. He dove into a rest stop for, I don't know what. So on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, you end up going through the Appalachian Mountains, and so there are a number of tunnels. These two are kind of a pair. You pop out of one and back into the other. Kittatinny and Blue Mountain is the one we just went through. So Pennsylvania Turnpike will snake all the way out to Pittsburgh, and then we'll start to cut north and into Ohio. We'll go more the northerly routes along by Cleveland there and up along like south of the lake. So we're currently about 45 minutes, 53 miles out from Bedford, and I'm down to 3.4 kilometers per kilowatt hour, so my efficiency's kind of dropped. I've got about 100 miles range now, is what it's telling me, just because I've been running at higher speed. but that'll still put us in with 50 miles on the charge when we stop. So it's some construction. The upside bill's going to hit this too. It's not really going to make a difference to either one of us, other than I suppose my efficiency will go up while we're going slow like this behind this truck. I'm not sure how far this goes, but man, does it make two-direction use like this in these tunnels. It kind of stinks, even with the filtration on the e-tron. I'm currently at about 50% charge, and I'm only about attention to driving. Only about let's see here, 30 miles from Bedford. So with 6 stops and 20 minutes is kind of the estimation of how long those stops may be. That's not really accounting for, like, if I have to charge more than, most of the battery, it could go more like 30 minutes if I'm coming in really low. So we'll see how this first stop goes. If the charging stations are any throttled or slower for some reason, that could make a difference. If we're coming in at Bedford, and the last time I stopped there on a trip to Pittsburgh earlier this year, there was a local Chevy dealer who must have just gotten a truckload of bolts and sent every sales guy down there to charge them all up. So we ended up waiting about 10 minutes for one of them to finish and get off the charger. So with more like Volkswagen ID4s and Mach-E's and Taycans and cars like that on the road, it's possible. It's pretty rare, but it's possible that I could run into a stop where all the chargers are in use. So with 6 stops, 20 minutes a stop, that's 2 hours, and I have a 2-hour lead on Bill. So this could be close, right? But everything has to go perfectly at the charging stations for me to stay ahead of him. So he thinks I've heard Chicago is where he'll catch me. That's possible. Perhaps, we'll see. I'm also moving a little faster than he is, I think, so that might help me out a little bit too. I think, if I had to guess, he's going to catch me by Milwaukee, which will be the last stop, if not Hotel in Oconomowoc, and I will have all the bragging rights. But in reality, we'll see how this goes. I'm going to have to be perfect at all these stops in order to stay ahead of him. Coming up on the Midway Service Plaza, which, if you're Bill in the truck in Pennsylvania, most of the service plazas don't have charging stations. New Stanton, should Bedford be offline for whatever reason, I'm going to be in a little bit of a world of hurt. I can make my way to New Stanton and have a 50 kilowatt blink charge, but hopefully we won't have to worry about that. Otherwise, you have these on-off service plazas all along. Some are starting to have chargers, some aren't. I noticed there are 2 in Ohio that have them, which is cool. Otherwise, I'll be getting off an exit. I've not done most of these stops before. I've never gone further west than Pittsburgh. So that's the other interesting thing, is trying to find the stop or the charging stations where they are, if they're in a mall parking lot or a mini market or a Walmart or whatever. And so in this case, while it would be really nice for a rest stop like Midway, Midway, is it? Whatever one. Yeah, this might be Midway. On the mountainside here, like, it would be great if they had an Electrify America in there, because really you're using your charges, you're using your high capacity or high speed charging when you're on long trips like this. Otherwise, you charge at home if you have a home garage and a place to charge, which, if you have an electric nowadays, you really should have. I'm going to be making my way to the Bedford exit, which is another mile up the road. I'm at about 30% charge, so I've been kind of bombing and trying to go fast, so I'm using up charge pretty liberally. But here, I have done this. I know exactly where it is. It's at a Sheetz mini market right off of the exit, so that should be nice and easy. Quick on-off is my hope, although to be dicey. My exit here is in a mile. I'll get around this stuff. Actually, it's right up here on the bend, so I don't have to make it around This truck, this whole Buick SUV, is not moving that quickly. So I'm going to duck in and not tempt fate.
Okay, so I am about to get on 78 West, which would take me about an hour to get to Hershey, because now I need to stop by George's house, pick up some straps for the pickup. So I have the F-150 Ecoboost with a 23-gallon tank, and it's indicating that I have 495 miles on the tank before I hit empty. So that means I only have to stop once, opposed to George's 6 times at 20 minutes each. So this is going to be interesting. I just got off the phone with George. He is on the PA Turnpike heading west. He needs to charge up there, so that's 20 minutes. So hopefully it will take me about, off of 7881, it's going to take me about 20 minutes to get to his house and pick up the strap and then get back onto the highway. So he's about, I'd say, like an hour and 45 minutes ahead of me at this point. So wish me luck for Team Ice. If you are rooting for George, you know, he's Team e-tron.
All right, so we're at Electrify America, Bedford, Pennsylvania. It took me 5 minutes to get it going. I started on this charger, and for whatever reason, it timed out. So I lost a couple minutes there choosing a second charger. So we had about 29% charge when we hooked up. I've already picked up 5% charge just in a couple of minutes. Took me to charging at 143 kilowatts, which is pretty fast. So I'm going to take it up to 100. Let's just see how it goes. I may not take it up to 100 for some of these stops, just depending on how fast this seems to go. But Bill is running behind me, we think, by about 2 hours. I've got 6 stops, 20 minutes per stop. If I'm able to hold 20 minutes, theoretically, I should be there just about the same time he is. That's 2 hours, is 6 stops. So the challenge to it is, if I spend a quarter of my time, 5 minutes, trying to get the charger working, that's not going to work out for me. On the upside, he did hit some traffic in I think east of Hershey on I-81. So far I haven't really hit any, and so that's a great thing. He also has to make one stop, so he's going to add a little time, 5-10 minutes. That might help me if I have to jump from charger to charger. The other thing here is, with this first stop, I'm going to see what kind of efficiency I'm getting today. But since I am going fast, I am going to try and charge to 100. I normally won't be using a whole lot of the battery, so as I have a better read on that today, with the exception of the stop where I'm going to be going 140 miles between stops, I can probably just go to 80% and maybe save myself a couple of minutes should I feel like I'm running behind. So now that we're up above, what are we at, like 87%, we're only charging, actually still 90 kilowatts is what we're charging at 87%. So pretty fast. It's going to drop here as we get closer to 100, because that's the way kind of batteries go. But at this point, a Tesla would probably be running around 50 kilowatts from what we've seen. So in the top 10% like that, I'm pretty pleased with how fast it's charging. So that last stop took about 30 minutes. I charged to 100%. Didn't need to do that, but I wanted to see, and I watched more closely the last 10% to see what pace the vehicle charges at. So, you know, in the lower 90%, I was still charging it at about 100 kilowatts or so. So quite fast. And then as I got up around 95% and beyond, it dropped to, like, you know, 80, 70, down to 50 kilowatts. And at 50 kilowatts, you're about, you know, a percentage point a minute in charging. Most of my stops today aren't going to be that far, right? We'll be going probably 100 to 120 miles. There's one that's 140 miles. I'm only getting like 3.5 kilometers per kilowatt hour efficiency right now, which isn't great. It's because I've been trying to make time with speed. and also climbing into the mountains in Pennsylvania. So it'll even out. Ohio's very flat the whole way out to Chicago. But even still at 100%, it's telling me with that kind of dismal average so far today, I've got a range of about 164 miles. So my next stop is in like 119. So we should be out of that lower 20% that kind of slows you down. And so I'd like to try to kind of back the charging off. That'll save us some time. I think Bill's running a little bit behind too, so I'm not feeling the pressure yet. I'm sure I will be by later today. The advantage I have right now feels pretty good, but that cushion's going to evaporate.
That's what happens normally on 78 West. I am stuck in traffic. Waze totally failed me. There's a long line of trucks and cars ahead of me. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm looking at the secondary road over to my left, and everybody's just whizzing by on the secondary road. So apparently their Waze like them. My Waze, I don't know, she seems to have a vendetta against me sometimes. So I'm still like 45 minutes outside of Hershey, so George is just cruising along, and my chances of catching up with him are getting slimmer and slimmer.
All right, so I think I have a 2-hour lead, or 2-hour plus lead, which is great, but I've got 5 more stops today, and the last stop took me about 35 minutes. But if I narrow down my charging times and don't charge to 100%, I think I can maybe eke out Wisconsin, so we'll see how that goes. But he's also on the move now, and probably roping me in. Maybe I'm stretching it out a little bit when we're both on the road, but I'll be off the road then not too long, in about 80 miles or so.
All right, so I just left George's house, picking up some straps for the pickup, straps for the pickup truck, whatever. It's 10:22. He left his house like 3 hours ago, so I'm really right at the point where he left 3 hours ago. I was caught in traffic for a good 15-25 minutes in stop and go traffic on 78 West. So currently I'm in Hershey. I just got off the phone with him. He's on the other side of the state right now. He's almost in Somerset, Pennsylvania. He already has made 1 stop to charge up, which he was having little difficulties with the first charger, like wouldn't work, and the second charger something, I don't know. So he lost a little bit of time, but not the 25 minutes I spent in traffic, plus being 2 hours behind him anyway. So it's going to be close. Waze are actually, I'm switched over to Apple Maps because Waze was screwing me earlier. So Waze is telling me I have 12 hours ago. Obviously we knew that from Hershey, and I should be arriving at 9:19. So I'm only going to be making 1 stop for gas. We'll see how well my bladder holds up. I've already eaten breakfast. I don't need to stop for a while. I'm just gonna, as soon as I hit the turnpike, I'm just gonna hammer it, because I'm a good distance behind George at this point. So Team Ice is looking like we're may or may not catch up with them. So Team Ice seems to be melting at this point. Hopefully I can catch up some time with 1 stop as opposed to 5 more stops for George. He has the advantage kind of with, at his stop, at least he can, get something to eat or use the restroom, while I may just have to pull over and use the restroom, a couple times at least.
So a quick update, I am near Somerset, Pennsylvania, which is still a little shy of Pittsburgh, and Bill is on the road now from Hershey. So I'm just gonna plug in quickly my home address, which is where he just left. We drive, and see how wow, it's telling me 2 hours 43 minutes, so I have a pretty good lead at this point.
Just a quick brief update. It is now 10:30. I just left Hershey. I just left Hershey. I had to stop by George's house to pick up some straps for the pickup truck bed. I was caught in a huge traffic jam on 78 West. I lost about 30 minutes at least there. I lost another probably like 20 minutes or so, coming into Hershey, picking up the straps, briefly talking to his wife, which I don't know if George did that on purpose, so that, you know, he'll slow me down a little bit more, but she's a lovely woman. I love Deanna, so I don't mind talking to her. But as I said, I'm just leaving Hershey now. George is on the other side of the state. He just went through Somerset, I believe. I just got off the phone with him. So for right now, Team Ice
in 1 mile, use the right lane to exit right to I-83 North, US 322 West to I-81, Carlisle, State College. He's
about literally 3 hours ahead of me. He already made one stop. So that, you know, he had a problem with the first charge that he went to, so he's got 5 more stops to make. I only have 1 stop to make at least. The truck is indicating it's got 400 miles left in its tank. I have a 23-gallon tank. I only need to stop once for gas. I hope my bladder lasts that long.
Use the left 2 lanes to continue onto Paxton Street.
So right now, as of right now,
exit right to I-83 North, US 322
Continue.
West to I-81, Carlisle, State College.
Apparently I have competing apps going on.
In 4.6 miles, take exit 41A on the left onto PA 581 west towards Gettysburg.
So pardon me. As of right now, Team Ice is way behind.
All right, so Cranberry, Pennsylvania, charging station number 2. I was charging in less than a minute, so didn't lose my 5 minutes of that this time around. Rolled right in. There's a Volkswagen ID4 over there. They're already starting to pop up. Cool to see. I'm not going to charge full this time. I'm going to see, but I think I'm still about 2 hours ahead of Bill, so that's good because I'm going to need it if I take a half hour at each stop. So we'll see how long this goes, but so far so good. I'll have to check in and see with him how much of my lead I retain. Next stop will be Elyria, Ohio. Like I said last time, I went fast in the last up to like 90%, so I'll probably charge to 90% this time and then hit the road. I rolled in with like 40% charge, so this should definitely be a shorter stop. I'm gonna stop because I'm that weird guy in the parking lot doing FaceTime or talking to him just on the phone. So, but holding up the lead so far, and we'll be in Ohio shortly. Just finished up the rest stop or the charge stop in Cranberry Township, and we were at 24 minutes, went up to 96%. The next run is going to be 128 miles, so rather than dipping too low into the power, we have plenty of range. I'm showing 180, but that way we won't empty it out too much, and I can still get that first 90 to 95% pretty fast. So went ahead and threw a little extra on there. It didn't bother waiting it out. It was another 8 minutes to finish out to 100%. Wasn't really worth my time. So back on the road again, and not far from the Ohio line. We'll be crossing there shortly, and hopefully Bill, I'm going to call him here shortly to see how far back he hopefully is. I have crossed into Ohio and am now on the Ohio Turnpike, and probably about 15 miles from getting on I-80. So we've got, let's see here, 91 miles to the next charge station, and I've got 139 miles on my range. So Ohio's pretty flat. I'm not really doing a whole lot of climbing now, so my efficiency is running around 3.7, which is pretty good. I've not been, I'm not on some like land speed record, but I have a formula is to trying to make a little bit of time over everybody else. So as you can see, I'm not flying by other cars, but hopefully I am going just slightly faster than Bill, and that's all that matters. So I did check in with Bill on the phone. He's back still around the Appalachians in Pennsylvania, crossing through tunnels. I think I have about a 120-mile lead on him at this point. But I do have like how many more stops to go. Let's see here, Sheffield, Ohio. Then we got the Indian Meadow Service Plaza. That's 2, Glenview, Illinois, and Milwaukee. So I've got 4. So right now my average per stop is about a half hour. So that's 2 hours. I got a phone call coming in.
Just got off the phone with George. I'm not going to believe anything that he says anymore. Because he keeps telling me that he's at a different mile marker to throw me off. I was being honest. I told him exactly where I was on the PA Turnpike. And I think he's lying to me where he is, exactly where he is. But he did say he just crossed the Ohio border. I'm about 115 miles behind him at this point. He has made his second stop. You know, I obviously not going on to Facebook because I can't see his updates, his live updates. But obviously he made his second stop. His next stop's going to be in Sheffield, Ohio, I believe. Where he then, after that, he's going to have a long stretch of about 140 miles between charging stations. So I, on the other hand, still am showing 200 miles indicated before I reach empty. I'm averaging about 18 miles a gallon in this thing from ever since I left this morning at around 8:15 or so back in Allentown. So I haven't been kind to this since I got onto the PA Turnpike, especially in the middle where it's nice and flat. As you can probably see, I'm stuck behind a line of cars who theoretically, I guess they're going to speed limit, but I can't afford to go to speed limit. No, I'm not saying to break the law. As you can see, that speed limit sign is covered, so I have no idea what the speed limit is on this road. Just saying that. So, am I going to catch up with George? I don't know. He has 4 more stops, 40 more minutes, so I mean 20 minutes at each stop. He's not charging up to 100 now. He said if he charges up to, he don't need charging up to 90. He said if he charges up to 100, it takes like an additional 8 minutes. So he's knocking off time every time he doesn't fill up to 100.
So we're coming up on Sheffield, Ohio, which is the next charge stop. Interestingly, so I think every stop we've made so far, Cranberry and Bedford in Pennsylvania, have been at Sheetz mini markets. I assume they have those in Ohio too, but the challenge with Electrify America is they put them where they're able to kind of get rollouts. So sometimes they're Walmarts, sometimes they're at Sheetz or other mini markets. They're going on the next 2 in my line of going. I'm only going to hit one of them. Are at actual rest stops here on the Ohio Turnpike, which is awesome because you're right on, right off. Even with the 2 Sheetz that we've hit, I wasn't really off the highway very long. They were quite close, especially in Bedford. This one is interesting. So Sheffield is at like a Sheffield shopping center by like a Giant Eagle supermarket. Some of the businesses there, so not a place to grab, not a bad place to grab lunch. But I'm noticing I'm getting off of 80 at Lorraine, Elyria, exit 145. That's in 2 miles, but then it's another 6.2 miles to destination. And so I'm going to end up going about 4 miles off of the road. I-80 is my route west to Chicago before turning north to Wisconsin. And so that's 8 miles I got to do that aren't really getting me any closer to Wisconsin. In fact, Ford were taking me further away, essentially. So I have a pretty good lead on Bill still, but I hate to kind of burn miles this way. It is what it is. Sometimes it's not as close as you'd hoped, but I'm about to get off, so I'm going to drop here. So not so great. This, like I said, we're about 3 miles at this point away from the Electrify America, and it looks like it's a lot of red lights. So not great for making time. This gets better. Honestly, when we first bought this car over a year ago, there wasn't much in the way of high-speed charging network at all. So so far I'm 1 in 3 that's not right on the highway, and it looks like everything else I'm going to hit today is right on the highway or very close to it. So I guess I can't can't complain too much. Okay, Sheffield, Ohio. You're a Giant Eagle. So the trick to this stop is it's about 4 miles off of the Ohio Turnpike. So I was up and running, charging in 2 minutes. That's great. I've got about 30% charge here. So our next run is 144 miles. I'm probably going to go, I've been going up to like 95% on the battery. I may go up to 100%, we'll see. But this will be the longest run of the day. Still got a pretty good lead on Bill at this time, but we'll see how it is at the end, because if I go to 100%, well, that's going to be probably 30 to 35 minutes here charging. That last 5% takes 8 minutes by estimation on the charger. So that's why I've just been skipping it, because it's just kind of not really worth burning the time. But between, if I go that or the extra 8 miles I'm doing that's not on the turnpike, that's going to slow me down. The rest of the stops today are actually pretty good, because the next one will actually be on a Ohio Turnpike rest stop. So perfect on off. And as you would expect with a long trip, every other stop I've hit is at like a Sheetz, and it's right off the highway. So really no big deal. And this one I had like a couple of stoplights and then back on another highway and go up and exit. And it was a little bit convoluted, but I got a supermarket so I can go grab lunch and think about Bill while he's probably jammed in that Ford trying to make time and not stop. So in the meantime, e-tron's running like a champ. Running, is that the correct verb? I don't even know. But I still have a lead at this time. I've got one more stop in Ohio, one in Indiana, one in Illinois, and then final one in Milwaukee ahead of Economowalk. So if Bill catches me by Chicago, I may try and catch up with some friends in Chicago for dinner. If he doesn't, I'm going through, man. I want to beat him. Like, I don't really care, EV or ICE. I love them both, so I'm not really trying to like show dominance here. It's just competitive nature. And honestly, I love the e-tron for long trips. I don't mind these stops. Okay, 4 miles off the highway, not really big on that, but I'm taking the thing to Maine this summer too. It's a really great vehicle. Could have a longer range, but whatever, I can live with that. And it's about as far as my bladder will go anyway. So there you go.
So the theme of the day seems to be Bill gets caught up in traffic everywhere. Just crossed into Ohio. Just went through the toll booths back there, probably like a couple hundred yards at this point. There's one easy pass only lane. All the lanes take easy pass, but there's an easy pass only lane. And of course, the guy 2 cars ahead of me didn't realize that, and we sat there for about 5-10 minutes until somebody came out and handed him a ticket. So as you can see, the other side is equally as jammed. Welcome to Ohio. So I'm 527 miles away from the hotel in Economowalk. I am at 124 miles to go before the tank is empty. Yeah, this seems to be my day. I made actually some pretty good time on the PA Turnpike, through Pittsburgh and past Pittsburgh, and then hit this again. So this is the 3rd or 4th, I've lost count, slowdown that I've had. When I talked to George earlier, about 2 hours ago, and he had already was crossing into Ohio, he didn't mention anything about the traffic. So lucky me. Awesome. Okay, so the word of the day or I should say the phrase of the day for me happens to be stuck in another traffic jam. I just crossed over the border to Ohio, and I think I was in traffic jam number 4. I still have 122 miles indicated on the truck. I decided to just go ahead and pull over into this very convenient Ohio traffic rest stop, which is right at the beginning of the traffic jam. So I just took advantage of that since I wasn't going anywhere anyway. I'm curious to know where George is. I do not know where he is. I haven't talked to him in a couple of hours, but I have 526 miles to go. I am losing time like crazy. I have 122 miles till empty. So I unfortunately, I think he's going to win this one. Yeah, I think he's going to win this one. Just picked up some melons, trying to eat healthy, I guess, with my water. But anyway, Team Ice seems to be melting rapidly, which I think I mentioned before, but oh well. Hopefully George is caught up in some traffic somewhere. When I did talk to him a couple hours ago when he crossed over in Ohio, he didn't mention any traffic, but he's been messing with my brain all day, giving me the wrong mile marker that he's on, because, you know, I don't cheat. Or at least I'm trying not to cheat. And I actually gave him my actual mile marker, and he gave me a false one. So I'm not going to believe anything that George says to me for the rest of the day. We are, at least it's sunny. I heard it's raining in the Commonwealth, so thanks for hanging on. I may check to see real quick if George has posted anything, but I don't think I will, because I'm just losing so much time. So, all right, I was going to Facebook Live my one and only fuel stop, but I'm so pressed for time that I just filled it up and hopped back into the truck, because not only there were like 5 pumps that were down at this one Ohio rest stop. I was actually on the phone with George also at the same time, not telling him that I had pulled over and was filling up. But it took me probably like 10 minutes to get a pump, fill this thing up, get back onto the road, which I am doing now. And there are so many cops out here right now that my speed is less than ideal for this competition. But George just told me he is pulling over for his next charge. He is 105 miles ahead of me at this point. And he's not going to charge all the way up to 100. He's only going to charge up to 80%. So he's going to save him some time, probably like 5-6 minutes. But he's still going to be down for at least 20-25 minutes. I'm going to see how much time I can catch up. I'm hoping 30 miles. I'm hoping I can catch up at least 30 miles. And then he's got, I think, 2 or 3 more stops left.
Okay, so this is how it should be done. I'm off the Indian Meadow Service Plaza in Ohio. So like the turnpike's right there. It's just a normal service plaza, and Electrify America is like right here at the end of the sidewalk going in. There's a Starbucks. It's great. I've just checked with Bill. I have like a 105-mile lead at the moment, which is dwindling as I charge. I only have 98 miles though to the next charging station. So I'm probably only going to charge to 80%. That'll be the fastest charge window I have on this battery. And then as soon as the charging starts to drop, I'm going to move on to the next one in Indiana. It's getting a little tight, so I was able to pick up. He had to stop for fuel. He was within like 95 miles of me, and I was able to get 10 on him while he was fueling, I guess. So for the moment, still in the lead. He may catch me by Chicago. We will see. Well, it all depends on traffic, I guess, at this point. Either he or I hit. But everything's going well with the e-tron otherwise. Just pulled out of the service plaza charging station. What a great setup. Just right there by the service plaza, not across the parking lot in some dark corner somewhere. It was fantastic. I only charged...
Police reported ahead.
We have like 98 miles to the next charging station. And so for that reason... I only charged to 85%. It was telling me like another 20 minutes or something for that last 15%. So really did not need to spend the time doing that. So I didn't. And so hopefully I didn't lose too much of my lead to Bill. I think I was in and out of there and like all told off the highway and back on in 25 minutes. I was able to grab a bite to eat, hit the restroom, and do my Facebook check-in, that sort of thing. But otherwise, once we're like that, where like all rest stops have a bank of high-speed chargers, and on major highways like this, it's how life should be, right? And the next stop, that's the challenge. The next stop is like 3 miles off at a mall. So like, again, I'm gonna lose about 3 miles worth of driving time to and from the highway until I'm able to get to the charger. So it could be better. And then the one in Chicago is a Target. So I'm gonna guess, at least a little bit off the highway as well. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully I can stay ahead of Bill. All right, so I'm in Mishawaka, Indiana, and like the one in the first stop in Ohio, this is a couple miles off of the exit. So we're running like parallel to the Ohio Turnpike, so I don't know if we're gonna have to backtrack. It'd be nice if we were just to keep going, but we'll see. It's also in a mall, and what I found in the past at malls is, depending on how big the mall is, sometimes it's hard to find the chargers, which in normal conditions, who cares? You're either going somewhere you're familiar with, so you know where they are, or you're not in too much of a rush and nobody really cares. But I know Bill is getting closer and closer. I hit some traffic earlier, so he kind of closed the gap, although he had to go through that construction too. And then a couple miles ago, Waze took me off one exit off of the turnpike, just one, to go around potentially a wreck. I don't know if the wreck had been cleaned up though, so depending on when he comes through a little while later, Waze may not take him off. So he may pass through there rather quickly. I will see. But so for now, I am coming up on this mall, and I don't know what to expect. I'm also not sure how quickly I'll get back to the road. I think reasonably I'll get out of this charging station free and clear of Bill, which gets me to Chicago, and I suspect that might be where he catches me. If he doesn't catch me there, I may be clear, because it's not that long a run up to Milwaukee at that point, and I won't use much charge. I'll probably stop in and top off the charge, but even then I won't be down that long. So it really depends how close the charging station is to the highway.
Okay, well, I think Waze has something against me, because she took me off the turnpike, and now I'm just wandering on these secondary roads in Ohio. Yeah, so earlier I would think I was 60 miles, around 60, a little over 60 miles behind George. I stopped by the rest stop, had to buy a break, grabbed a bag of chips, put 5 gallons into the truck, and unfortunately that cost me 15 minutes. Now, I don't know what this is going to do, because I can actually see the turnpike over to my left, and cars are whizzing by. There was a tanker truck that was turned over, and a sign that said turnpike, whatever, emergency route, and Waze was telling me to get off that exit, so I did. And now I've just been wandering around the Ohio countryside. So okay, well, I'm at mile marker 62, so I'm 62 miles away from the Indiana border. I just went past a state trooper who wasn't going the speed limit, and he pulled out behind me. He was in the median, so now I'm just dawdling along at the speed limit at 70 miles per hour, and he's sitting about half a mile behind me at this point. I was pacing another F-150. He apparently saw the cop, or had radar detector or whatever, because he slowed down and I wasn't paying attention. I was actually on the phone with George. I wasn't paying attention, and I blew past this cop. So we will see if I am going to be pulled over. He's just sitting back there. I don't know what, he probably would have gotten me by now, because I passed him like five miles ago at least, and but he pulled out rapidly after me, and then has not done anything since. So, and apparently I'm killing my mileage, because now I have a 366 mile range left on the tank. Maybe I should be more conservative, because George was stuck in traffic, and I actually gained 9 miles on him while he was stuck in traffic, but he seems to be moving now. So anyway, okay, update. I had pulled over a while back to do my one fuel stop. But since then, I had a 501 mile range on it. But between that and now, I was probably a little more enthusiastic on the gas pedal than I should have been. I thought I was going to get pulled over at one point, going a little too fast, and my mileage now to empty is 328. So, and I'm 319 miles from the hotel. So I may have to make another stop. Right now, I'm sitting at a mile marker 22. I'm 22 miles away from the Indiana border. But after that scare with the cop and him pacing me for the longest time, I decided to just go ahead and pull over. I'm going to pull over. So George was caught in traffic around mile marker 9. And he was stuck there for a while, but he managed to get through that. He's in Indiana right now. For a while, I thought I was out of the race because I was just going to speed limit for a while with the cop. So, but we just got off the phone with him, and I think I'm still in contention. So I need to stop real quick because I haven't stopped to have a bio break in a while. So I'm going to do that. And he still has 2 more stops to make, I believe. I think I'm 200 miles away from Chicago now. We'll see. His next stop, I think he said, was he had to get off the turnpike, drive a couple miles to a mall, and top up at a mall somewhere. And traditionally, but from what we found, anytime there's a EA or a charging station at a mall, it's somewhere off in the corner near the perimeter. So hopefully I'll catch up with him then.
All right, I am in Minnewaca or something like that, Indiana, at the University Mall. So, and there's that. I will say I had to go like 3 miles off the highway, which kind of stinks. But upside, I've been entering Electrify America, the name of the town, from their app, in every in the Waze app every time. And what's nice about it is it's a pretty big mall, as you can see. And I've been to malls before where there are charging stations, and the address in Waze for the charging station took me right to where the stations were. So that saved me a lot of time, at least finding it. I hit a mall in Springfield a couple weeks ago where like it was around the side of a Target, and then like behind it on a lower level, behind like some food vendors at a farmer's market. So today was much better. Although I am, again, 3 miles off the turnpike. If I have to go, I'm running parallel to the turnpike. So if I have to go back, I'm going to lose that. Bill is getting closer to me. I think he's not going to catch me by this charging session, but he may catch me by Illinois. This is my last one before Chicago and my third to last stop on the way out. I really kind of don't need the last stop in Milwaukee, but I'm going to do it anyway just to top things off. We'll be 30 miles west of Milwaukee when we stop, so that's kind of where we are. Bill he almost got a speeding ticket. I heard he was running faster when he got scared that he almost got a ticket. We were on the phone together. I won't say how fast he was going, but he was concerned. So I think I stopped in with like 30%. I did hook up to that one there, and it just wasn't reading the car on either one of those chargers. So hooked up to this one, and it worked right away. Within 4 minutes, I'm charging. So I can't complain with that. This has really been, Electrify America has been great this whole time. Everything's been, I think my first stop, I had one that like just didn't really initiate right, and I didn't bother trying a second time. I just moved to a different charger. And this is the only second time I've experienced something like that, and who knows what's up. But it definitely worked, and so yeah, I'm gonna try and stay ahead. It is starting to rain, so I'm not gonna be that chatty. But that's checking in from Minnewaca, Indiana. I think I'm gonna pass Tire Rack soon. I think that's between me and the next and Chicago. So just got off the phone with Bill, and it looks like he was within 35 miles of me, which is like a stop, right? Like that's just one charging stop. I only have 2 stops left. And what's interesting about this is, like, the next one in Illinois is, I don't know, I mean, it's 82 miles from where I am, and I went a little thin on the last charge, so I'm only at about 105 miles range. So I'm going to come in with 25, which is the lowest I've run into a charging station yet today, using more of my charge. But then you go low, and you end up in the slower charging range. So if I, a battery charges slow, fast, slow. So if I'm down in the slow portion, then it's going to go slow, 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 fast, and catch up. Now, if I charge to full charge, that gets me about 200 miles range, right? 180, 200, depending on how fast I push. So Glenview, Illinois is 74 miles to Milwaukee, which is the next charging station I wouldn't need. And then Economowoc is another 30 beyond that. So you're looking at like 106, and then I'm there, and I have, let's say 80 miles range left. So if I can get out of Glenview ahead of Bill, I could skip Milwaukee and win this. Or I could charge to 85 and then blast up to Milwaukee, because that last 10% is what takes so long to charge. So theoretically, depending on how close they are, but they're all Walmart, so I don't know how close they are to the highway, and how much time I lose getting there. But if I do that, then I could also charge fast and get there as well. So boy, it's tempting. I could win this. Bill also was as close as 35. I think now I've picked up at least about 5 miles on him. But I mean, going at like 60, 70 miles per hour, it's not like a mile a minute. He does have to get through Chicago, so do I. And if anybody's going to get hit more by, let's see here, it's 625 local. I don't know if Indiana's on Eastern or not. I think I don't know. Someone can tell me. I know Chicago's on Central, so I haven't crossed into Illinois yet, so I don't know. We'll see if it changes, but either way, if it's 6:25 in Chicago, then I'm coming in kind of at the end of rush hour. Bill being a half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour behind me, depending on how slow he is by construction or whatever's going on back there. Waze did take me around that, whatever that was. I thought I was screwed because I went, side roads, but he didn't. So we'll see what he hits. But either way, I could, if I don't charge that last stop and I can get out of Illinois faster than him, then I'm done and I win. But then I'm probably low range in Economowoc, and when we go to leave tomorrow morning, and tomorrow's gonna be a long day, packing the trucks and making our way back. I think we're gonna try and shoot for Western Pennsylvania by tomorrow night. So in doing that, I will necessitate us stopping in Milwaukee on the way back, where if I go full charge in Milwaukee, I can get to Economowoc, back and down to Glenview again on our way out. So saving us a little time tomorrow. So it depends how badly I want to win. I'm gonna guess I'll probably just go Facebook Live and show, like, all right, I'm ahead of him, here's my range, here's the distance to destination, and I'm gonna be a nice kind stop, but I had this one, and I want you all to know that. just to prove to all the ICE fans out there who've been rooting against the e-tron today, that we can pull it off. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know, but I'll quit gabbing and get back to driving. So we're coming into Chicago. A beautiful view of the city. The fog over top of it. Don't know. I haven't spoken to Bill since right after my last stop, so I don't know if I've gained miles on him or not. But I have cut a couple miles off my trip to Glenview, Illinois, Target. I think Waze had kind of routed me a less than direct route around traffic. But as we're getting through kind of the rush hour, I think we're able to go more direct now. So that's good. So this is a bit of an X factor too. We're looking at kind of end of Chicago rush hour traffic. I think Bill will probably have it better than me going through here, only because he's going to be coming through a little bit later. I guess it depends how close he is to me. Maybe he has the same hold up. I suspect at this point he's about 35 to 40 miles behind me.
Okay, I'm at mile marker 93 on the Indiana Turnpike. George, I got within 30 miles of George. George's at one point was only 30 miles ahead of me because he had to get off his last exit and find the charger at the mall. And I was making good time, but you know, I just got off the phone with him now. He's widened the lead back over to 40, probably like 47 miles on me now, because this, as you can see here, this is what I've been dealing with for a while. So I'm actually really surprised I got up to about 35 miles behind him, because at one point I was 60 miles, which was the closest I was for the longest time. So yeah, I don't know how long this is gonna go on, but so close. But like he just said, it's not over till it's over. So we'll see. It's beautiful, man. All through Indiana it was just cloudy, rainy. Yeah, but I think I have no idea, since the last time I was in Chicago, which was the only other time I was in Chicago, it was at night. So
in 4.2 miles, continue to I-90 West, I-94 West, Ryan Expressway, Wisconsin, to exit 53B, I-55 South, St. Louis.
Oh my God, that was a long one. But like I said, I think I'm pulling into Chicago. Almost to the end of our journey. I have an hour and 45 minutes left till I get to the hotel. That's about 123 minutes, 23 miles.
It's interesting. You do things like this, right? Like Le Mans, and it's down to, like, you know, leaders at the end of Le Mans, 24 hours of driving on the final lap together, and it's down to the wire. And I'll tell you where we are, just to give you an idea. I was just on the phone with Bill, and he was as close as 35 miles behind me. So I've got, to fill you in, I've got a stop left in Glenview, Illinois, which is in 76 miles, and I've got 100 miles range, so it's going to be a little tight. The tightest I've run the e-tron today as far as charge. The problem with that is, right, like with charging, it's always like slow, fast, slow, right, the way it charges. And so if you go too low, you end up it takes longer to charge until you get in the meat of the battery, and then it charges fast. And then what I've been finding is like that last 15 to 10% is kind of a time suck. So I've been skipping that, and this last stop, I knew it was starting to get tight, so I ended it at 85. And I also thought the destination was like 90 some miles. Turns out it was like 110 or something. I didn't do my math right, or something was up. I think maybe Waze is routing me a little bit longer, maybe Chicago traffic. So he is sitting in traffic though, so he's going slower than me. I can't really bomb like I had been earlier today, because I'm running this a little tight, and I don't want to. I'm trying to roll back in some of my efficiency. But I'm still making pretty good time, and I'm not in traffic like he is. So my guess is I'll have like probably 40 to 50 miles on him. I'm already at like 40. So I'll have like 40 to 50 miles on him by the time I'm stopping in Glenview. So I ought to be able to get out of Glenview ahead of him. So the question is, do I go to full charge in Glenview? I can probably do it, even though it would take longer. Get out ahead of him, and then I can get to Oconomowoc actually ahead of him. I can skip Milwaukee, win this, hurrah, I won. Or do I go to Milwaukee? If I go to Milwaukee and charge there, especially if I full charge, we can skip Milwaukee on the way back tomorrow, which is better for us, right? We don't have to stop there. It's one less stop we have to do. It's going to be a long day tomorrow, packing the cars up. Because my con flying, what a great rabbit he would be if I had the range. Anyway, sorry, looking at a fast Macan, it's a squirrel. I'm distracted. But yeah, so I could theoretically win this one. the question is whether I want to make us have to make an extra stop tomorrow just to win. So what you may find is I go, I pop on and show you my range and that I'm ahead of him and that I could have done it. We'll see. See how this goes. Or if he gets really caught up in traffic like I'm not expecting, or if he's a master crafty individual and he's fibbed to me about his distance behind me, which is entirely possible too, then he may tell me he's behind me, and so I'm feeling safe and I make the stops. I don't know. We'll see. It's been a fun day. It's kept us awake. I'm ducking off to Target in I forget the name of this town, but it's a northern suburb of Chicago, so kind of on the way up to, like, exiting Chicago on the way to Milwaukee. This will be the last or second to last stop we make for charging. So again, if I charge the full way, I can make it. I don't know where Bill is. I've purposefully not called him to try and get an idea because I don't want to sway it one way or the other. But I think I can. If I go to the full, I can make it to Economawalk on this last charge. And maybe I'll just, if I'm out ahead of him on this one, I'll let him know, and we'll just go to Milwaukee anyway and meet up there. Interestingly, I pass a Volkswagen ID4. I suspect he's going the same place as me, because he's behind me now. That's like the third one I've seen today. So it's interesting. I haven't seen other e-trons. I think part of it is e-tron is an amazing luxury car, but it's also, like RS5 and Q8 money. So it's a premium, nice vehicle, but the price point where the MEB cars, like the Q4 when it hits market, similar then to the ID4, it's remarkable how fast those are hitting the market, and they were all basically consumer cars. My stop in Cranberry Township today saw an ID4 parked and charging, lady eating her salad as she waited. Stop in Ohio, I forget which one it was, probably the first stop in Ohio, there was another woman in an ID4, and then the couple in the car behind me have that terrible white interior that's going to, it's already in like 3 minutes, but hopefully there's more than one charger available. So if he and I are pulling in, we're not there fighting for it, but about a mile out from Target, and that'll be my either last or second to last charge session today as I make my way to Wisconsin. Just as I say, I hadn't seen any other e-trons today. Find one in this Chicago suburb. Unavailable. One's ready. I have to unfortunately park in a handicapped-ish spot. I'll put next to it so I don't get the fine. But so this is weird. Like, the spot is like the one charger's offline. Just put it in the yellow. Hopefully I don't get a ticket. Alright, so this is going to be fun. I was just Facebook Live. I don't know what this Nissan's doing. I think he's going to try the 50. The woman came out, but apparently she doesn't think she's full. And so she's, I don't know, if this one's down, I'm going to have to go find another one. She can't even eject it from her car. I guess I should help her. Now she got it. So she's leaving, hopefully. All right, 10 miles away at some fashion outlets near O'Hare Airport. Here's what I learned. I could have done better in planning my route. everything. I assumed because it was Electrify America at that Target in Glenview that it would be 150 kilowatt. It wasn't. So even when that lady came out and I chatted with her, very nice lady, but it had timed her out too. So it was a little buggy. I was able to put a percentage point or two on that, but it was only charging at 50. So at this point, I'm done. I think Bill's caught up to me. Should be here any minute. I came 10 miles away. He's going to meet me here. Maybe we'll try and grab dinner somewhere nearby. I looked on the Electrify America app. 10 miles away was this outlet mall, Fashion Outlets or something. And so I came here. I'm now charging at full speed. But basically, I sucked up all the lead time that I had getting here. So Bill will probably be here in about 5-10 minutes. And caught me in Illinois, which is kind of what we theorized anyway. But man, I was close. I could have had him if I'd have hit it at full speed. I would have been fine. So that's the day. We'll probably stop in Milwaukee too, so I'll post from there as well. But here I am, and I'm sure he'll have his camera on and be posting live when he pulls up. He said he would. God bless him. So that's my day, guys. I'm going to sign off early on this one. Let me try and find a bathroom or something. Very empty Fashion Mall. It's like 8:30 p.m. But charging it actually up to like 142. So I'm pretty much full speed. Given that I'm starting so low in the battery, that's probably why it started a little slow. I will say I love this car. When I get out of traffic, it's just so effortlessly quick. Power comes on and it doesn't make a lot of noise, doesn't piss people off. It's just kind of very effective, snipe and get around people and move fast. So I'm going to, what the heck, go ahead and charge to 100 here since Bill's probably catching me at this point. Not probably, he will. He turned this way, so he's off his route to come meet up with me. So that's my day. Almost had him. Had I not, and I think part of that is planning error. I made the mistake of assuming again that the charging system in Glenview, kind of upscale North Chicago suburb Target, had no reason to think it wouldn't be 150 kilowatt, but everything there was 50, as it turns out. And I should have checked sooner. Probably would have left there sooner and gotten here. So again, near Arrowhead Airport, we're going to head up to Wisconsin tonight yet. I'm going to sign off.
Hey, remember when I said I was going to catch George before Chicago? I just caught George in Chicago. Here he is. Oh, wow. I thought I was dead in the water, but we made it and got him. We're outside of O'Hare Airport. I can't believe I caught up with him. This is awesome. So, hey guys, thanks for hanging around. And I'm going to finish here because I've been in this car for like 13, 14 hours. So, see ya.
All right, so I'm northbound out of Chicago towards Wisconsin. Bill's behind me in the truck. He caught me at the Fashion Mall at the last fill up. I figured I just had a Tesla, saw him in traffic, so I figured I'd kind of start to wrap this up. I may film Milwaukee, but there's no more competition, so may not too. We'll see how inclined we feel to do when we're there. But one of the things that surprised me on this trip, it's been a while since I've gone this far. I was pre-pandemic mainly, but if I flip around, there's a Tesla nearby me, Model X that I'm passing now, and I know, like, coming across as I have, obviously I've been in Electrify Americas, and I've seen at those a fair amount of like Volkswagen 94s and Audi e-tron, some other electrics, a fair amount of Teslas. Like, I think one of the more obvious things is that electrics are coming, right? Like they just are. You're seeing more and more of them in traffic, more and more of them on long trips. And with the network as built up as it is now, obviously Tesla's always had theirs, but Electrify America has really come on strong. Ford recently announced they're doing their own. You're going to see more and more fast charging. And it's interesting, though, to see the woman I met at the 50 kilowatt Electrify America errant place at the Target in Glenview was brand new e-tron owner, hadn't hooked up to like an Electrify America app or her Audi of America or Audi Connect app yet. So she really just was just credit card swiping and going. Didn't even know the difference between a 50 and 150 kilowatts. So 2 weeks into ownership, still very new at the process, like a lot of people will be over the next couple years. So I'm kind of glad we're doing this, just maybe help educate a little bit how this process goes. Long trips in these cars really are not that hard. Just chatting with Bill at the Fashion Mall just now, he's a little blown out, right? Like he's been pushing really hard all day, but in trying to catch me for the 2 hours ahead that I was, he had to run harder than he would have normally if he were just kind of coming across on his own. So would he have been 2 hours more? No, probably not. So he might have gotten there a little bit faster, but we're also talking about literally a 12-hour drive. You're driving all day long. Like I just spoke to my kids. I said goodbye to them this morning when they first woke up, and I'm still driving, and they were going to bed, right? So this is an all-day drive, and that the e-tron is holding its own. Everybody kind of jokes about 200 miles range. What's that? Well, 200 miles range is about as long as you want to go on a bladder if you're drinking a beverage or a coffee or something, like, and one of the other things I noticed is when I am bombing and going fast in my S5, which is internal combustion, I am very much on a mission every time I stop, in and out, no rush. And one of the things that this does is it forces you to kind of not wait a long time. That's why I wouldn't wait in Glenview. I would have been there for an hour and a half. But like for a normal one where I'm stopping for 20 minutes, it really is long enough to kind of refresh, right? Get a beverage, maybe, check your email, do whatever. I was doing Facebook Live. Normally, most people aren't trying to live vlog their road trip though. So it just kind of, it's a great way to decompress, so you're really not fatigued. And on top of, speaking of fatigue, like the car's autonomous functionality right now is I'm able to do this at the same time because I've got the cruise control set to 75. If somebody drops in front of me, the car slows down. It's staying in lane for me. So while I have to drive, right, I have to keep a hand on the wheel. This isn't like for all the hubbub of Tesla's autopilot. They're basically a level 2 as well. And so Audi just sort of reminds you to put your hand on the wheel every couple seconds should you take it off. But it really takes a lot of the effort out of driving, particularly when you get in stop and go like that. Today we saw, construction and stop and go traffic like that. It just kind of does its thing, and you can listen to the audiobook you're listening to, or just not have to pay as much attention. And it's remarkable how much of a difference that makes. So, a great road trip car. I know, again, people bust on it for the range. I think that's kind of unless you've got a bigger bladder than I do, who knows? Everybody's different. But, this was about as long as I wanted to go. And when there are more stops, you could probably, as it was, like when we first bought this car a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have wanted to make this trip. There weren't that many Electrify Americas. There's so many more now a year and a half in. And when there are more, and when they're on roadside rest stops like they were in Ohio today, just makes life so much easier. It makes these trips more doable. I probably could have gone another 50 miles on each of my stops, but it's just where the spacing was. It was either about 50 miles under my range, or it was about anywhere from 25 to 50 over, and obviously I'm not going to go over. So I went more conservatively, but in doing that, I could also go whatever speed I wanted. I wasn't like, concerned that I was on the last couple percentage points. Even when I did screw up there, fortunately I was in Chicago, so there wasn't much of a distance between there and another one. There were several that I could have chosen from. 10 miles was the closest. Anyway, I could go on all night, but for me, it's a real eye-opener as far as if you do the planning, a long trip like this, even cross-country, I wouldn't be afraid of doing. But planning is essential, right? I assumed every Electrify America was, if you look at my list, I've posted it some places. I'll post it in this video when we put it on YouTube. But there are, I have backup charging stations. Some are 50 kilowatt, Blink or EVgo. I just assumed everything Electrify America was 150 kilowatts. Apparently that's not the case. So learning curve for me, and lesson learned, I'll be checking that. It's all on Electrify America's app. I could have checked it. Again, I can't say enough for pre-planning. That's the one thing, if you don't like to do that, okay. But the sense of adventure is also kind of there, and I know where my stops were, so I never really had any range anxiety. Just, where's the next stop, plug into the Navi and go. So kudos to Audi and Electrify America. These were, none of this is sponsored. I'm not saying that for that reason, but it's just, it's been a really pleasurable trip. Probably one of the easiest trips I've had, and most entertaining, thanks to Bill for kind of playing cat and mouse today, even though he won, jerk. It made it a lot more interesting to pound out the miles. And I've done this trip in A6s and press cars over the years. It's a long trip to Chicago, and I'm still going to Wisconsin. But this is actually one of the more relaxing ones I've done, because it's just you're going to stop, so you're not really bombing that much, and you're stopping and walking around a bit when you do. Anyway, again, I can go all night, so I'm going to stop now. Thanks, everybody.